Good evening, everyone. My name is Richard. I always wanted to do this type of podcast and wanted to take our time out today and just really get these tough conversations going to get people kind of talking about these things. And if you ever curiosity, I know my friend Bethany and I were who's also my co-host, and we just wanted to have this tough topics in which we enjoy together. But before I go into that, I want to take a minute and I want to thank the men and women today who gave their life for the very reason what we're doing right now and speaking at will without consequence, that freedom of speech, and because of their sacrifice we're able to do this. And as a veteran, I'm grateful for the brothers and sisters who served before me and continue to serve today. And I'm so grateful for that. And again, that's what Beth and I are here to do. We're here to practice that free speech. Before I get into introduction, I just want to make a disclaimer. We are not licensed therapists. This is not what it's for. We're not here to diagnose. We're not here to understand or try to diagnose anything. I want to make sure that's clear up
No.
front. I know that Bethany may be something wrong with her. I'm joking. But no, it's really all
Because of
about just having
you.
a conversation, whatever. Um, but I just want to make sure that's up front and people that really do suffer that, and I think it is a big deal. So if you go to therapy, please all continue it. If you don't do it, I
Yes.
recommend it. I've done it. I think my co-host Bethany's done it. You know what?
Yes.
It's fine. But we're here to have tough conversations, and I just want to make sure that is our purpose. It's not for clicks, and it's not for subscriptions. It's not for follow me, or
No.
unless you want to. But that's not our purpose for that. It's just for her and I to kind of bring to the people out here in our social media circles, and to say, hey, you're not the only person that had these tough conversations and how to do it. And so,
Right.
further ado, again, my name is Richard. I am 43-year-old man. I am pretty much 4 year divorce guy. I've been married for 12 years before getting divorced. I got four wonderful kids, sometimes wonderful. Uh,
Mhm.
I do IT for a living and I do it well. I'm retired military. I've been around the world. My bubble has expanded, outside of the United States. So I'm very culture. So I don't live into a bubble in a sense. So I understand cultures. I understand different countries around the world. But at the same time, this is something that hits home with me. I've been in a few relationships, and I can say that I'm experienced. But also, at the same time, I also study things. I read things. I listen to people on social media speak and podcasts as well. So we're just here to give that opportunity. But without further ado, I'll pass it over to Bethany to introduce herself.
Hey, I'm Bethany. I am 41. I have been married. I have been divorced. I am from Northeast Arkansas. I've been here my entire life, not by choice, but I have. I was a preschool teacher for 15 years. All of my kids had some sort of learning disability. My family has three funeral homes that I literally grew up in. So I've been in and out of that all of my life selling insurance. I love to do creative writing, and DIY crafter is my thing. I have three kids. I have a grandchild. I also have a wonderful golden doodle named Aspen, and I love her so much.
Very protective, by the way.
Yes, she is. And I love it. I love it, love it. But now, me and Ricky have been friends since we were in junior high. We had about a 20-year gap where we didn't really talk because he was in the military and he got married. We went our separate ways with our adult lives. But about 5 years ago, we reconnected, and it was just like we were back in junior high. We picked up right where we left off, and there's literally nothing that he and I can't talk about. So that's why we wanted to do this, so we could have these hard conversations for other people to hear, so that they could see that they're not alone in this. Like, some conversations are so hard to have that you don't even want to bring it up sometimes because you're afraid of how it's going to turn out. It's okay to have those hard conversations. Me and Ricky have them all the time, and hopefully this podcast goes somewhere where we can really get into it, because we can talk for hours about anything. and there's never any judgment.
No,
No.
she's correct. Sorry for a little glitch there, guys. Um, yes, I mean, great point, great leadway into talking about things, Bethany, because you're right. But why? Why tough conversations are so difficult? It's for me from a guy perspective, fear, conflict, rejection, ego. From a guy perspective, it's all about feeling weak, and we don't want to feel weak at all. And I get that, right? We're here as a man. We want to feel that we're the protectors. We got everything situated, and I think as guys, we tend to think that the people that we're around, either our kids or spouse or something, we want to make sure they're protected as well. And I don't mean
Yeah.
protected from danger, but also emotionally protected as well. We want to make sure that emotional safety is there as well for that. And so, because of that, we don't never take care of, from our male perspective. We don't want to do that. We don't want to have these tough conversations unless it's something that's not something that we're teaching, like coaching, or maybe we do it that way. But when it comes to personal and it comes to where it's like, oh, I'm kind of my weakness is exposed, and I feel like we feel naked, and we feel uneasy, or that's what I call kind of our bruised egos. We don't want to feel that way. So that's why I think it's kind of from the male side. I don't know, Betsy, from your perspective, but that's how I feel about it.
I don't know if it's a woman thing, if it's just me, or if this is really how it is for other people. But I think people avoid tough conversations because it's our human nature to protect ourselves from anything, danger, conflict, embarrassment, rejection. So a lot of people anticipate having those conversations. That I mean, that's how it is for me anyway. I anticipate having some conversations for those reasons, but once I start the conversation, then there's no problem with it. I can just continue talking about it. It's just starting it for me.
Yeah, I mean, I can see that. And if we do start it, and I take away the childhood traumas, take away the things that are clinically diagnosed, depression, et cetera, right? It really comes down to, I ain't gonna try to say this word, being authentic.
Authenticity.
Yes, what she said. And it really is. It goes, do I want to care enough? Do I want to do enough? And if it is, does it feel like I'm doing enough? And it really comes down to, I know the love language is not really, it's not really the purpose of our conversation for love, but it is the same principle. If the people understand when they communicate things, sometimes they do it in a way that they do it, but not delivering it in a way that other people can understand it. And because of that, there's a miscommunication. And so a lot, maybe that's one of the reasons. Maybe we don't want to have hard conversations because it may fall on like ears that you want to understand. Like you not understand me, you don't know what I'm going through. You don't really, there's things like that. But it's also where it's feels like when we're just not on the same spectrum of what's going on. And
Right.
so I call it the financial. Somebody who knows finances is that it's the financial or the technical debt or the emotional debt of in a relationship or any relationship, family, friend, spouse, doesn't matter. There is this debt around this. And if what happens is we don't do nothing about it, they just start to pile up. And what happens is that one person that starts piling up, they don't do anything with it, or they attempt to do something with it without any further action, and it's just a bunch of noise or a bunch of emotions that's come out, and they don't really know how to wrap their heads around it. They're not going to really take care of that debt. And so I think the tough conversation comes in is that we're just burned out, and they just don't know how to deliver tough conversations without having purpose behind like in the first place. And I get it. We're human beings. Every one of us are all different. And the whole point of that in a relationship, no one's going to be alike. And it doesn't matter if you're in a marriage relationship, a friendship, a coworker, manager, worker manager site relationship, uh, parent child relationship. Even a child is ever unique. There's nobody that's the same as us. Like we're unique. And so because of that, we got to align, to have these tough topics. I think it strips away, or at least I think, from my opinion, I think we need to strip away an outer layer of ourselves to adapt to the person that we want to have that relationship with. That's how it's just my opinion on it. But I think if you desire it, I think you want to have it. I think, but the whole point is that there's got to be some kind of level of desire and understanding first, and then have a delivery thereafter. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not so sure that I would say adapt. I mean, I wouldn't use those words, but what I would, let me see how I'm going to say this. It's consideration, because you want to achieve something when you have these conversations. You don't just sit down and think of some random hard conversation that you want to have somebody just for the fun of it. You don't do that. You want to achieve something. It's, I don't like when you talk to me this way, or you make me feel this way, or, I don't think I get paid enough for what I'm doing. Regardless of what it may be, you are trying to achieve something. So I think when you're talking to somebody, you just need to consider how they are. And if you're going to have those tough conversations with those people, you know who you're talking to. You know
That's a good point. Yeah.
you know if they're going to fly off the hinges, or if what you say might make them cry. I mean, so just be considerate of who you're talking to, where you're talking to them, how you talk to them. And I think if you do that, then you both will be able to achieve something at the end of the conversation.
I mean, it goes back to advice for practical, right? What's practical here, right? I mean, just like I'll kind of caveat what you're kind of saying. If I know the person, and again, it depends on, and there's also the complexity of emotions. I am not going to, if I want to have a serious conversation, I want to start it. Obviously, you got to learn to read the room from a guy perspective, guys. If you don't know how to do this is something you got to learn. What if that person that you want to talk to is in an emotional state? You think you're going to have a topic conversations? Like, I mean, conversation where you're actually engaged full on. I'm not talking about where you're sitting in sentences, saying what you got to say at that point and stop. I'm talking about engaging where thoughtful conversations, where it's more conversation is going to happen and prolonged. You're not going to do that with somebody's angry. I'm sorry, it's not
Mm-mm.
going to happen, right? I think at that
No.
point, you get to realize, that, okay, I want to have tough conversations. I feel it, but I'm going to say what I'm going to say, and I'm going to stop because there's no way that an emotional person in that state is going to retain information, or they really going to care. It doesn't matter what it is. I can say that from having my older kid who's very, when he gets angry, you might as well stop talking at that point, right? And then I understand, and it's just true. It's like I know he's not.
Yeah.
And I know his mom is a talker as well, and she's trying to get her best to get across to him. But at some point, you're going to have to read their face and their emotions, and because
Yeah.
you're no way there's no way to be practical at that point for you to have it.
Mm-mm.
And then it goes in timing. Like at some point, time is like, where's the timing of this going to happen? Is it at nighttime? Before you go to sleep? Are you tired? Are you both tired? I mean, there's got to be some kind of timing in there too. Is it going to be in the morning when you get up? Is it going to be in the part of the day? It's like, when is there a time for that? And so there's all these little, pieces that have to come together. But I think the key is, in my opinion, is acknowledging that there needs to be a tough conversation first,
Yeah.
and acknowledging that, okay, I know I want to have it, but the question is how. What is the practicality and advice in which I want to deliver the way my tough topic wants to this individual? How was that? And from your Bethany perspective, how do you identify that?
Um, I mean, it's still with consideration for me. I mean, that's a very broad spectrum, and you do have to read the room. You have to read the person. You have to know the person, and just do what you have to do to have the conversation. It doesn't matter what other people think, or how other people feel about it. I mean, it shouldn't be discussed with other people either. Whoever you're going to have these conversations with, just sit down and have it with them. I mean, and I've always been a talker. I have been a talker my
Oh my God,
entire
you
life.
talk.
Shut up, Richard.
Sorry.
I have been a talker all my life, but this last year, I do things so differently, and I know that I do, and it's taken some people some time to get used to this side of me, but I mean, I truly feel like there is no reason not to have hard conversations. You just have to do it. You don't have to be mean, you don't have to be petty. You just sit down and have that conversation. And hopefully whoever you're having the conversation with has enough emotional intelligence to not fly off the hinges when you're just really trying to resolve something.
That's a good point. I can tell you there's two things, and I can tell you when not to have it. Don't have it over text.
No.
If you're a texter, I mean, there's a
Do not
good.
text
I
me
don't know
no
if
bull
you
crap like
remember right,
that.
Bethany. I don't know if you've seen Keenan Peele, or I think it's whoever it is, the group. It's pretty funny. It had a great skit, but it was so much truth in that. How one person was texting, and he had almost like his reading the text, how he's feeling at that moment. The other guy is almost like he's getting high, and he's like, okay, whatever. Yeah, man, sounds cool. And it's like you have two opposite personalities, and
Mhm.
so they're so legit in what's going on into their own mind, but conveying it across the other side being read totally opposite. And it's so true. Don't ever text when you're upset. Don't ever text trying to converse. Please, it's a one-dimensional conversation.
It
All the
is.
feelings
Text
come
has
from
no
you.
tone.
And that's probably why they invented emojis. And so
You're
anything
probably
of that,
correct.
I have a rule, Bethany. Believe it or not, I do have a rule. I do not go in full gone tough conversations over text. I don't care how good my words feel. It doesn't matter if I go to ChatGPT and make sure that all the words are round emotional context around that words matter, and it goes to how the
Yeah,
person are in that mood. And so, as one rule that I would never have, or I have, is I never get when I'm up, when I haven't want to talk about, I do not have a text. I'll pick up the phone or have a conversation, and it doesn't matter what it is. I do not, because you are always going to misinterpret 90% of the time. You will misinterpret it.
you
Again, I don't
will.
get it. Emojis happen, but emojis still don't do nowhere near as your tone of your voice and the way it goes, the volume of your voice. There's so much dynamics in what how we can deliver a message and get it wrong. And so that's
Mhm.
one thing I just want to say that off the bat. But also want to say this too, for somebody who has this problem, and I'm pointing to myself. Um, I'm a person that takes time in silence, believe it or not. And I know that this is not an excuse. This is not a way. I'm just saying this is a way that most men and women brains are different. Okay, men brains are wired and think of everything's boxes and they close. It means that all the information has been there. It's all there, but they're closed up and it's out of sight, out of mind. Okay. And what that means that is like if I know that something happened and I know that something I gotta have a car conversation, and I'm saying it was mostly either between from my experiences from my child or through my or through a relationship. I do know it's on my mind, right? But sometimes when I'm at work, I put it in the box because the way my brain's wired, and I put it away, and it don't come out, right? Until either it's either that's an uncomfortable box, like touching a hot stove. Like, ooh, I don't want to touch that, and
Mm.
because you got you don't want to come to that point. Where women's brains, it's almost like, and it's interesting, guys. Listen to me here for a second. It's so true. A woman's brain is like a big ballroom, and anything happens from that time she wakes up, including her dreams, by the way. So if she gets mad at you because you said something in her dreams, it's in her head at that moment, and it's going to
Sound
carry
funny.
through her brain, right? And it's true. You laugh, but you know it's true. It's going to carry her brain throughout that day. And so anything that causes any type of a rhythm in her mood, if that mood dips down, it's because something happened. You may even cause it because you did. Something happened and it's in that room. And the whole goal is that it's that as a person that you're going to be with, or that person that you're in a friendship with, doesn't matter. You have to understand that's how that woman is going to go through her life and through her day with. In your brain, we don't have that concept. We close things up, we go through and pull out the things we need to, and we're efficient with it. Women do not have that concept. I'm not speaking for all women. I can't speak for it because I don't have the studies on it. All I know is the studies I've shown, majority of the women have an open mind in their head and they have to clear their space in order to have conversations. Sometimes you may get something that had nothing to do with you. And you know what? That's because that's in her space. That's all that means. I'm just saying. I'll digress. Bethany, what you got?
It is. I mean, we may have 199 tabs open, but each one of them tabs is different, and we're going to take it one at a time. To where you're sitting here talking about, guys, how y'all just put it all up in a box just because it's out of sight. It might be out of mind for y'all, out of sight, out of mind. That's okay, but all that's doing is just piling up, piling up, piling up. So, I mean, either way you look at it, it's chaos. Whether you have 99 things going at one time or you have 99 things piling up, it's chaos.
Have you ever had a friendship where you basically ended it because of lack of communication or over communication or emotion communication?
Mm,
Is that a thing?
I mean, it hasn't been for me. I mean, now I have had friendships to diminish because of, I don't want to say miscommunication, but maybe like, not listening to my boundaries, I guess.
Oh, okay. Well, that's
I
another
mean,
topic
and
for
I
another
didn't
day,
make a
huh?
big deal out of it. I didn't make a big deal out of it. I just, kind of backed up and things went away, but hey, it is what it is sometimes. But
Okay.
no, I
So,
don't have, I mean, have you?
I don't think I have. I don't think I ever cared enough. Maybe. We should be. I'm kind of joking there, but it's kind of true. I don't think I ever cared enough for to have things that got to that point. I
Yeah.
mean, honestly, to be honest with you, I have a very small circle of friends. So I
Yeah,
don't,
me too.
and it just because it's my personality. I mean, not somebody else. I'm more of a hybrid of an introvert extrovert. But I don't really. I mean, I'm all about people who are real, and I don't deal. I won't say fake. I just don't like lukewarm type relationships where we're like in and
Right.
there and out of there. I just don't. It's just
I
not
don't
the
have
way
time
I.
for that.
I think I like the word time. I think because if think about it, so I think it'd be exhausting if you had so many
It
people
is.
that you got to like. It's almost like a muscle in your body, right? It's working out that muscle is hard. I can imagine if you had all the muscles you had to work out at a time in a day. That's
Mhm.
exhausting trying to keep up with that friendship. And because
It
again,
is.
because it's so real for me, and so that means I have to be available for that many people. And so, and there's only so many people. I got kids
Mhm.
I got to do. I got 4 kids. I got a small circle of friends, and especially if the person I'm going to pick, whoever my last person is going to be, right, and whoever that person is going to be, that also needs my time. And so there's
Yeah.
not that many times for that kind of friendship to have many friends.
Mm-mm. It's
But
not.
let me ask you this: is avoiding conflict ever healthy, or is it depends?
Mm. I think maybe it would depend, but also at the same time, no, I mean that would just depend on why you're avoiding it and the pros and cons of what avoiding it, will do. I mean, if it's going to cause you harm or somebody else harm, then I mean, I would say yeah, it's
Okay.
worth avoiding. But
So it's if I say an example, what you're saying is so if I'm in a road rage, I think there's a good reason to avoid conflict.
right,
Okay. But if I am in a relationship in a way that, regard if that relationship is platonic, a romantic, our kids, I think there are times that we're going to have to speak up out of comfort. And I think at some point, I think we're going to feel better because that's something. I think the more person we care about, the
yeah,
more I think we have want to have. I think it's less for us. I don't know what that. I guess it's just enough information that you don't want because that person is you care so much about this person. I feel like we don't want to touch that because we care about them so much.
that's
And
true.
I think it's backwards a little bit. I think that because of that mindset, we do not want to get out of our comfort zone and to be able to articulate information to that person because we love them in a way that it would care for them, that we don't want to rock the boat or stir up things. Even though psychologists, if you go do your studies for a second, okay, I'm not a psychologist, but if you go read the studies, you'll see in relationships, if you're able to have conflict and do it right, watch that relationship grow. And it's almost like this little rounded. I'm going to try to use a physical metaphor so we can kind of picture this for the guy perspective. Imagine the leaves, dead leaves fall off and new leaves come in. Think of that same thing. A flower gets stronger when you cut it down, right? Imagine that same concept when you start to learn. The same thing your muscle. You tear that muscle up or and it starts to repair itself, it comes back stronger. Same thing. Have tough conflicts and watch that relationship bloom. Don't care if it's platonic, don't care if it's romantic. But I promise you, it's there. The studies show it. Watch what happens, and you will see that if you want something better, date nights or romantic or intimacy, what have tough conflicts, have those tough conversations, and be. When I mean have tough, I don't mean somebody who's dumping their anger on somebody. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the ones where you're actually trying to deliver something and get value from it. That's what I mean by
Right. I mean, and I agree to that too. I mean, it's if you want to, you will. If you want your relationship stronger, better, healthier, happier, etc., you're going to do what you have to do to achieve that. And then that may work for some people, but I mean, I kind of want to go back to what you were talking about. It's hard for people because, they don't want to rock the boat. Okay, do you want to rock the boat or do you want to continue enabling that other person or yourself to do whatever it is that you're trying to have these tough conversations about, whether it's financially or
that. Ooh,
in a
that's a good one.
romantic relationship where you don't feel like you're being heard or whatever. So I mean, do you want to rock the boat or do you want to continue enabling something you're not too happy about?
Mm, wow, that's pretty stuff there. So I think there's some definitely tough conversation topics that we can take from this because
Oh
I don't
yeah.
know about you. You said rocking the boat. I think I got something more sexual there. Um, but no, to make it a little serious here for a second, tough topics, regardless of what it is, it can be about money because you mentioned money, right?
Mhm.
That's a tough topic.
Yeah, it is.
Sexual pleasure with each, if it's a romantic relationship, tough
It
topic,
is.
right?
It is.
Even the what you for a job, even if anybody wants to go out and have a job and switch jobs, that's a tough topic. And
Mhm.
so that's what I mean by tough conversations. I know we're kind of hitting it at the very, light layer, only maybe a 5 foot, 10 foot deep. No, no, no. I'm just giving you
Yeah,
a
I'm ready to jump in the ocean. I'm ready
yeah.
to
Thank
jump
you,
in the
Beth. Because once you
ocean.
start mentioning these things, we can just take that turn and go down and see where it leads us. And I
Yeah.
think that's what this is a pilot's about now is just trying to get that out there and say, listen, we're not just talking in an inch deep here. We're going to go a little more, way more deeper. Okay, we're talking about beyond the
Mhm.
where we bury people deep. Okay, okay. Since we're talking about
Yeah.
funeral homes over here, no, seriously, we want to get some topics in there that really kind of ruffle feathers a little bit, and because it's so important uh, for any relationship, it's about again about money, raises if you're at work, anything. Those are tough topics.
They
As we're
are,
coming
they
to a
are.
close here, I want to give Bethany the last word. Or is that
Why?
okay?
'Cause I'm a woman?
Okay. Um, okay, you take it, and I'll take the last word. How about that?
No, thanks. Ladies
Okay.
first.
Okay. Go
Okay.
ahead.
I am really, really excited to do this podcast. I mean, it's just like a phone conversation for me and Ricky. It's really not that big of a deal, except for we're recording ourselves, which is kind of weird. But anyway, I think it's going to be good for us and a lot of other people because I mean, the things that I know we will talk about are going to be good, but I want to know what other people want to talk about too. Did I say that right?
I think you did. That's perfect. Yeah.
Yeah. Like I want to know what other people want to talk about too, or what they want us to talk about. I mean, because like
Mm.
when I said I want to dive into the ocean, like I want to dive deep. I love these conflicting sides, and especially when we get into the man brain and the woman brain. I really like that. The generational stuff, I love
Oh, that's
that.
going to be a good one.
Yeah, I love the
Oh,
generational stuff. But so I'm excited. I really am.
awesome. Well, I can tell you my take on this, right? And it's going to be somewhat Bethany saying the same thing as her, right? I mean, we have this conversation. You and I is so easy for us, right?
Hmm.
Well, we can all agree, tough conversation is very uncomfortable. And as the older we get, and I'm speaking from a older, from a 40-something-year-old guy, the older we get, the harder it gets if you're not
Hmm.
used to it. It's become more set in our ways. But I can say this: I am so grateful that getting outside that comfort zone more and more, even starting this podcast was very tough. Even though it's very tough. Even got into, you saw I got into CrossFit and got in, those things were tough. I never did those things before.
Yeah.
Once you start to do those things, once you start get out, including, asking a old school way a woman out on a date and not even having been on a dating site. Ha, that's another story, another day. And be getting out of that comfort zone, it makes the side of where it starts to become, you feel more confident and more comfortable. That's why I'm here able to do this with Bethany today, is because of that confidence. But it didn't happen easy. It doesn't happen but it happened because I started. I acknowledged, I started, and I just almost I read a lot, I cared a lot, and so I acknowledged. So I want to take four things before I end this. And again, it's just a pilot. It is only like an inch, a couple feet deep, but I still want to leave these three things. Acknowledge that there needs to be tough conversations to be had. Acknowledge in yourself, acknowledge in where your relationships you do have today. And also the second thing I want to make is find ways to deliver it, not just for yourself, but the other individual. How would they want it? Right. And that's also a conversation to have. How do we want to deliver the message so they understand it, not so we can release it from our own self? And the last thing I'll take from this, just like Benny said, feedback. Your people out here listening right now, you guys are ways that deliver information that we can't see, not from our perspective. We're a small little speck of brain. There's so many
Hmm.
brains out there, so many perspectives, so many different ways. You guys can comment and say, "Hey, this is what about this?" And that's perfect because I would never thought the things you guys might even think of, and that's good. That's the purpose of this podcast, is getting that out there, like Bethany said.
Yeah.
That's my closing statement. This is toward the end. Thank you, Bethany, so much for your time. Again, happy Memorial Day, everyone. And I hope this in the
Happy
future, please
Memorial
bring it
Day.
on. And as always, thank you in a humble way and a good night.
Thank you. God bless.